let's move on to the Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert, fresh off a 5-year, $265 million deal. Biggest contract ever in the NFL. To some degrees, I mean, not more than Mahomes collectively, but on that per year basis. I want to focus this conversation towards Brandon Staley. We had a comment on it but when someone was looking forward to the AFC West show and just said, I would love to hear your guys' opinions. Actually, he wants us to roast Brandon Staley. The Chargers decided to keep him. They're maintaining their head coach. But Chargers fans are mad. I mean, they're only 19-16 with him over the past 2 years. There's been a lot of questionable decision-making going back to 2021 when there were those fourth down analytical decisions, and I know it cost them against Kansas City once. The Raiders, they called that timeout, which I went back and watched it. It wasn't really as bad as I remember, but in the moment when they called timeout, do you remember that game where they tied and they both go to the playoffs?
What do you mean don't remember that game?
Oh, no,
that sent us to the playoffs.
Yeah, that did send you guys.
Of course I was, yes.
Like, in the moment, it felt like that timeout kind of convinced the Raiders to go to, like, try and pick up the first. Maybe. I mean, they still ran the ball, so I'm not sure.
They were going to... That game
I thought
was
they were
over.
going to let the time run.
That game was over.
But, so, I mean, people were questioning that. And then, obviously, last year, they're 6-6. You got to give them credit. They get hot. They had a lot of injuries. Rashawn Slater was out. Allen was banged up. But they're finally 10-6. Looking to... then they're going to go to the playoffs, a meaningless game against Denver. And Staley trots out the starters. And Mike Williams gets hurt. And he actually misses the playoff game with I think he had a back fracture. And then Joey Bosa, he played, but he also banged himself up in that game. And then that was followed up by a 27-0 collapse. So it just like a lot of questionable decisions around Staley, things that you'd imagine other coaches would get fired for and not get away with over and over again. But he's still there. I'll start with you, Ziggy. Do you think that the Chargers are just shooting themselves in the foot here over and over again by keeping Staley around?
I mean, here's the, like, it's certainly not. Brandon Staley has certainly struggled with some things, but he's a first-time head coach. The team has generally performed all right with him around, right? You know, the first year is going to be a tough transition year. The second year, there was the really unfortunate collapse, but they also went up 27-0 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, I think this year is the do or die year. You have to have success in the playoffs, but were they really going to go out and get a better offensive-minded or defensive-minded head coach? I mean, maybe, but the guys were
Sean Payton.
Yeah,
which a lot of people don't think he would have even gone there. But I mean, if you get Sean Payton with Justin Herbert now,
yeah, but say you can't get Sean Payton, or you just can't get yourself to give up the first, then you could get maybe D'Amico Ryans, a first-year head coach we haven't seen anything from. Like, there are a lot of questions. So I don't think it's unreasonable to stick with him, at least for one more year.
Okay. So you're cool with it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that decision last year to play their starters against Denver was a terrible move.
Really?
I think if you have a playoff game the week after, I think they should be playing football the week before.
Yeah, but the Vikings had their position locked up, and they trotted out the guys for like a quarter and a half or so.
But here's the other thing, too. The Chargers being up 27-0 in Jacksonville, Mike Williams being there or not, does not prevent what happened.
It maybe not, but like Mike Williams
being hurt, they're up 27-0.
It's just when you combine both of them and you see the decision backfire against the Broncos like that, and then up 27-0. And I'll be fair to them, like they missed a 40-yard field goal in that game. A lot went wrong, but it was just they couldn't stop Jacksonville. I mean, they were getting torched. Like,
right, but
adjustments.
That's not Mike Williams being hurt.
No, but that's Staley though. He's getting outcoached by Peterson the entire second half because Peterson's making adjustments, and Staley's just getting annihilated.
I also do think that the Chargers are a decent football team on both ends. Nothing special, but decent.
Maybe better on paper than they actually are.
Yes. I think they are hurt by automatically being a wild card team at best every year. I mean, and you can't fault them because who would win the AFC West?
I can win the division. Just win the division.
But that's
not happening.
They're a talented team. They have a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Nobody in the NFL will win that division.
They have to play against the top 1 quarterback.
Twice.
I know, but like
twice.
I understand, but we could just sit here and throw a pity party for the Chargers. Like, go win your division. Find a way to win.
Hold on. The Chiefs going 14-3 every year. You can tell the Chargers to go win your division. Like nobody else would.
they're
That's
talented
like
enough
telling
to
the
win.
Vikings to go win the division every year,
When they had
facing
Aaron
Rodgers.
Rodgers.
We did win we won last year.
Yeah, against Aaron Rodgers and his misfits of crew.
I get it. What I'm saying is I don't want to just say to the chart, like if you go in as a Chargers fan, you're like, all right, we're screwed. It's like that team is talented enough to win the AFC West. There's enough talent on the roster to win it. They're a very good football. Like the Raiders cannot win the AFC West.
I don't know if the Chargers go in the AFC West.
But what are they missing? They have a top 5 quarterback, a great offensive line. I mean, I guess the run defense is horrible.
The difference to me in Mahomes and Herbert is astronomical.
The defense is there's
But the Chargers,
And
they're a 10-11 win team. They'll go on the road in the playoffs and they will lose. You can't expect much more than that, in my opinion.
I mean, you can expect more than that. You got to be able to win a playoff game. But like you talk about the defense, I agree the run defense isn't great. The thing that really worries me actually is the defensive back depth. Right? The J.C. Jackson signing last year looked awful. Right? People remember he got injured, and that's true. But he also got benched before he was injured.
He did not play well.
And I mean, like, look, Asante Samuel Jr. is an excellent cornerback. No complaints there. But like, who have they got behind him?
I think Michael Davis played well in.
Yeah, Michael Davis was good, but you've got Derwin James, safety, excellent, but often injured. Right? If Asante Samuel Jr. or Michael Davis get injured, or you want to trot out more than 2 defensive backs or cornerbacks on a play, like what is Alohi Gilman going to do it at safety?
Hey, dude.
J.C. Jackson going to do it?
Gilman fan here. Look, I think that there are concerns you could say with depth, but most teams have depth concerns. If Jackson's able to somewhat return to the form they were expecting, like he should play week 1. All indications are that he'll be okay. He's playing in 11-on-11s. I think he looks good too so far in practice, they're saying. If he can return to form, you're talking about a secondary that could really rise up the ranks in the NFL. But yeah, you're right. Like we're talking about guys who are very injury prone, so there's definitely concerns there.
I also think Justin Herbert is super, super talented and has been a little bit underwhelming. I've seen him make some unbelievable plays, and I've seen him make some atrocious decisions and plays as well.
That might be true, but Joe Lombardi's offense certainly did not help.
Well, they got new guys coming in.
That might be true as well, yeah. But I mean, think he has to play a little better as well.
Justin Herbert's arm? They had him 39th out of 40 quarterbacks in average depth of target. Kellen Moore is going to come in, change that right quick, and you're going to see what Justin Herbert can do next year.
Look, he has moments where you're watching him and you say, like, all right, this guy, might even be a top 3.
The potential he has is through the roof.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was hurt for a fair bit of last year. People forget about that rib injury, but when he first came back in that game, he almost couldn't move.
I'm trying to remember who I was trying to remember that game. Who were they playing in that? Was that
the Colts game?
I can't remember who they were. Do you remember the game though where he's running up the field?
Oh no, it was Kansas City. Remember, he took
like
that.
Clutching his stomach. It was an unbelievable performance from him. I guess when we look at this team collectively, the Brandon Staley, this is the year. Like you gotta win a playoff game at least.
Here's the thing too is like whenever I'm looking at the schedule for the slate that week and I see Chiefs versus Broncos, I'm like, all right, the Chiefs are going to molest them. When I see Chargers, Broncos, I'm going to go, Denver could have a chance in this game. That's the difference to me. I think the Chiefs are so much better than every other team in that division.
I think they can compete with Kansas City. Like if the Chargers won the division, I wouldn't be stunned. I would be really surprised if Denver did. I'd be shocked if the Raiders did.
You're probably going to win 14 games to do so.
Yeah, that's the problem. Kansas City's going to win 13.
Yeah.
One thing.
Well, no, if you can beat the Chiefs twice, I mean, they're going to lose more than one game.
They're not
going to
beat them twice.
Season.
They'll maybe split.
But that's what you have to do to win the division.
Right. Yeah.
It's a tall task, but I do think the talent's there. One thing, I want to see Khalil Mack play like Khalil Mack. Maybe we're past those days, but ever since he's come over from the Bears, I believe he's had like 2 of his worst seasons in the league.
It's easy to forget he's on the team. And, he put up 8 sacks last year, right? It's not like he was terrible.
No, but
he's not the force he used to be.
Yeah, it's like Joey Bosa is amazing, but they've never been able to get those 2 guys going at the same time for various reasons. So I would like to see that. The run defense, I'll just say the numbers here. In 2021, 138.9 yards per game allowed, and last year got worse at 145.8. So that has to be fixed. You can't get gashed like that. You saw it in Jacksonville too. This is a 4th and 1 play. They're always getting destroyed on the ground.
The Chargers' last few years to me have.
Oh, it's comical.
It seemed like whenever Herbert's playing awesome and the offense is clicking, their defense is getting waxed. And then when their defense is is playing well, holding teams to low points, Herbert's terrible.
I mean, the 27-0 collapse was
And I mean that
mind-boggling.
That literally what I just said was summed up in that one playoff game.
yeah, it's
And
a complete flip.
That seems to be what the Chargers have been the last couple of years.
So we'll see what happens with them. It's crazy though. Like you have a top 5 quarterback in football,
I like him as the 5 seed. I think they'll be the 5 seed again.
and then go and
They could beat a
play,
4.
play
They could
Jacksonville.
beat a 4.
Play Jacksonville again.
They could beat the 4 and then lose Kansas City.
Let me ask you guys. Last thing on the Chargers. If they played Jacksonville 10 times in that playoff game, how many of them do you think they win?
7.
7?
8.
8? Okay. I'd probably say 6 or 7. But all
6
right.
or 7, yeah.
So we all do think they're a better team than the Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, this year we'll see.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm trying to think. Like when you're comparing them to Jacksonville, I know Ziggy, you are high on the Jaguars. I think I'd still take the Chargers.
The Chargers too.
But I mean that just shows you how talented that team could be.